Hello. So I just want to go over quick some training about how to be an effective telethon phone call volunteer. I've done a lot of call work, and I think I can help you and give you some pointers that would make you more effective and make you much more at ease. The first important thing to remember about phone call work is to remember who you are and what you're doing. And that sounds a little weird, but bear with me for a minute. The temptation on the phone is when the phone call is going well, which it will most of the time. What's going well is to become the person's buddy and to talk to them and have a good time and laugh. And that's great. You certainly want to have a good time. But the problem is you're up against the clock. We've asked every volunteer to do 24 calls, and my guess is at about 5 minutes a call, which includes all the steps of the call, that would give you enough time in 2 hours to do those 24 calls. However, if you blow 20 minutes on one call, that's going to squash down your time. Or if you feel that you're going to stay and do all 24 calls, put you there all day. So you don't want to suddenly become somebody's best friend and talk for 20 minutes. On the other hand, you don't want to be rude and hang up on them abruptly or anything like that. So you have to balance that. You have to be professional without being a robot, but you also don't want to be their best friend, which leads us to another thing. You're not their best friend. These people that we're calling are members of the Libertarian Party of Florida, and they have received emails telling them that we're calling, and they will receive a robocall announcing them to save the day that we're calling. And so they should be expecting it. And even if they didn't get the email or the robocall, they're members. And so it shouldn't be a problem for them to receive a phone call. It's not like a cold call. It's not like we just got a phone number list, we're just calling people. It's nothing like that at all. So you should be very much at ease in making these phone calls. And at the end of the day, it's all about you and them talking and just having a quick conversation, and it should go real simple. Now, there are a couple of steps to making a successful phone call. Before you do anything in terms of phone calls, you want to make sure you have your tools. I have my workspace, I have a comfortable chair, I feel good, I got my swag on. If you can bring a mirror is actually really good. Look at the mirror and smile, because that smile comes through. If you're happy and you're feeling good, you'll sound better on the phone every time. It's just the way it works. I've got my drink here. Don't eat and don't drink while you're on the call. Certainly before, no problem. Or after, during, whatever between. But not on. Got my pen. I've got my call list. Now, here's what the list looks like. And the most important thing you want to do before you make even one call, put your name on it. That's important. Put the time you started. That time you started to making calls is just to help us gauge how long it really takes. Because when you're done, we'll ask you to put the time that you stopped. And we can figure out the distance there. Okay, so that may look busy. There's only 8 phone numbers on this page. You should get 3 pages. That's 24. Okay, so I also have my script. This is going to be useful. You're going to want that. It'll help guide you through the call. Now, I call this a script. A guide would be a better word, probably. The industry calls it a script, but guide would be better words, because often the call will not go exactly the way that you would expect, and so you need to be using your mind. The worst thing you can do is become a robot and just repeat what you see on the screen or on the page and read it. That's boring, and the other person could either just hang up on you or whatever, or could ask you questions that throw you in a situation you didn't expect because you were doing the robot thing and reading it. That won't work. So it needs to be natural conversational language, and you need to be listening because they will tell you things. Okay, so let's talk about how to make a call. So you've gotten yourself all set up. You're ready to go. You're going to make that first call. You've got your phone. I'm using an iPhone because I am. Got it ready to dial. Oh, you can't really see that on the screen. It's ready to dial. But before I dial anything, pick up the list of numbers that I'm going to call and read the name. Say it out loud. Michael Filburn. And the reason you want to say it is because it needs to be natural when you say it. And you need this moment of practice. A lot of names that you'll find may not be names that you say often. They come from different ethnicities with different pronunciations. Give it your best bet till you feel comfortable with it, or that you've determined that you don't know how to say it. There's a way to deal with not being sure. So, Michael Filburn, and read the number. And then go ahead and type it in. And hit dial. Now you're listening. This is where your guideline script will come in. There's really 3 distinct parts to a phone call. There's the prep, the phone call, and the after paperwork. So we've done the prep. We've read the name. We've got the script. We're waiting for the phone call to answer. Now, it turns out that phone calls don't always answer. There's a lot of things that can happen from the moment you dial and hit go. And they're all on this sheet. All the different possibilities are on the sheet. And the first one could be the number's disconnected. It's a bad number. Take your pen, do a check on disconnected. Please do a check or an X. Don't circle, underline, scrape, highlight, or any other thing. I know that we're all libertarians and we all like to do it our own way, which is totally cool. Here's the problem. Another human being has to read all of these. If they're all done different ways, they have to interpret each one. Let's try to keep that extra burden to that person to a minimum. Just check or X, disconnected. That call is disconnected. Hang up, read the next person's name, dial that. What else might happen? Busy signal. Check that, hang up. Read the next person's name. Say it out loud. This is Sally, I don't know. Sally Vasquez. There we go. Sally Vasquez. Why not? And I dial the number, and it rings, 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 and nobody ever answers. I call that a ring no answer. So here we've made 3 phone calls and we haven't connected to anybody. This is a very potential likely thing to happen. Don't let that bother you. Those are easy calls. I personally let a phone ring 10 times before I hang up. You choose whatever number is comfortable to you. 5, I would say, is a minimum. Don't just let it ring once and hang up. Oh, then we're there. 5 is a minimum. 8, 10, in that area. Whatever you're comfortable with. Ring no answer. Disconnect. Do it again. Now you might get that automated. The number you've reached has been changed, and there's a new number. Take your paper here. Scratch out the old number. Write in the new number. Hang up, dial the new number. Okay. So that's all the most likely things that can happen to you when you're calling a number before anybody ever answers or anything answers at all. The next thing that could happen, most likely thing, is some sort of voicemail system or an answering machine for the older people in the crowd. A voicemail called, you've reached the number of blah, 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 blah. And then there's 2 possibilities there. Their mailbox is full. They disconnect on you. Mark it down. Voicemail full. Checkbox. You're done with that call. Or, please leave a message for, at the tone, beep. You're ready to go. If that happens, you have your script in front of you. Hello, this message is for Sally Vasquez. I am Charles Braden with the Libertarian Party of Florida, calling to remind you today is the day of the LPF Telethon. You can view it online at lpf.org/telethon. Thank you. Hang up. You're done. You've left them a message, and they can become part of the show or whatever. You've done your bit. And you've marked down, left the message. Now, there's really only 3 other possibilities on here. So let's run through it again. I've looked at somebody's name and I've said it out loud. I've dialed the number. It wasn't disconnected. It wasn't busy. It didn't ring no answer. It wasn't a wrong number. And it wasn't voicemail. All of those things went away. And this time, a human being answered the phone. Well, there's really 2 possibilities there. The first one is that you've gotten somebody who is a wrong number. You've gotten somebody who they answered, but the number's not accurate. So, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Vasquez doesn't live here. This is the Chin residence, and we've never heard of Miss Vasquez. So the number was changed or whatever. That is the wrong number. Save it. Done. Or you've dialed. Somebody answers. It is the right number for that person, but that person didn't answer the phone. Maybe it was, their significant other or a child or a roommate or somebody, but that person was, in the next room, but they picked up the phone. Okay, so they've answered the phone, and you say, hello, this is Charles Braden. I'm a volunteer for the Libertarian Party of Florida. I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. Well, remember, Sally's not the one who picked up the phone. So that person could say, Sally's not here, in which case they're unavailable. Sally doesn't want to talk to you, they're unavailable. Or those are the two. Or let me get Sally, please hold. Or the best case is, hi, I am Sally. So those are all the possibilities that you could run through with a phone call. We're not used to thinking of them that way, but that's how it works out. So of those possibilities, disconnected business, ring no answer, those are pretty easy to do. Voicemail full, that one's pretty easy. Those are just check boxes, right? Left a voicemail. Here's your script right here. It's what, 3 sentences? Not even that, 2 sentences. That's not hard. What we have to really focus is when we talk to somebody on the phone. So that was our first stage, is just getting the connection to happen. And when somebody answers the phone, we do an introduction. And that is, hello, that's just saying greeting. This is, and say your own name, this is Charles Braden. Now, some people are concerned with that. You just have to do that as you want. I believe that you can use aliases, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So in general, I always say use your real name. You could just use a first name if you want. So in any case, hello, this is Charles Braden. I always use my last name because I'm not afraid of people finding me. It's okay. I'm a volunteer for the Libertarian Party of Florida. That tells them who you are and what you're doing. Something you're not just somebody calling them randomly to sell them fuller brushes. You're with the Libertarian Party of Florida. They're members of the Libertarian Party of Florida. They know that. Most of the time, every now and then somebody forgets. But they know that they're members of the Party of Florida. And so it's not completely outrageous for them to accept a phone call from you. I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. That tells them what you're doing. Greeting, who you are, what organization you're with, and what you're doing. Pop, 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 pop. I say you should always read it. Now, you don't want it to sound like you're reading it. So you should have read it a couple of times before, but always read it. Hello, because here's what happens if you don't read it. I've seen this a lot. Is you think you know it, and you do know it. But you think you know it, and you get comfortable. And the problem with getting comfortable is you get sloppy. And that's just how life really is. That's how humanity is. And so what will happen is you'll skip words, you'll change words, and you'll find out you paint yourself into a corner that you're not ready to be in until you're actually a telephone professional. If you're already an accomplished telephone outbound call professional, hey, you do whatever you want. But if you're doing this for a first time or around there, easy just to read the script or the guidelines. Easy, easy, easy. Hello, this is Charles Braden. Let me start that over because that didn't sound authentic. Hello, this is Charles Braden. I'm a volunteer for the Libertarian Party of Florida. I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. Now, remember I said sometimes you're not sure if you get it right. Is it Vasquez or Vasquez? It depends. Maybe you don't know. And so what I tend to say is, I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Because it lets them know that you're not sure. It's honest. Everybody has these moments. They run into names they've never seen before or whatever. Do your best on that. So what will happen is, after you've made your introduction, the other person responds. Now, they may not wait. They may cut you off or whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Rude people, we'll talk about how to deal with rude people in a minute. You won't meet very many rude people. And the ones that you meet, I'll help you deal with those. Very simple. Let's just talk about how it's more likely to go. So, hello, this is Charles Braden. I'm a volunteer for Libertarian Party Florida. I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. What are the possibilities? Sally's not here. Phone call's over. Sally doesn't want to talk to you. Phone call's over. Wrong number. Phone call's over. Let me get her. Oh, wait. Hi, I'm Sally. Bam. Ma'am, I'm calling to let you know that the LPF is being very aggressive in this election year. We have a goal of reaching 400,000 NPA voters before election night. We need both volunteers and materials. Can you help us? So what we've done is we've given them a little bit of information without driving them crazy. And we've told them something about what the LPF is doing. And then we asked them for help. So it's very straightforward. They're expecting that. I mean, the LPF, like I said, we're not your best friend. We're not calling to tell you about what happened at lunch today or whatever. And they know that. And they expect us to ask something from them. That's how it is. It's a telethon. We're reaching out to them. They know that. So we get pretty much straight to it. But we don't want to be like robots. Hey, Sally, give us money. Nobody wants that. So we have to talk to them and give them something in return. I mean, why wouldn't we? So at this point, we need both volunteers and materials. Can you help us? They're going to say a couple of things, but in general, it's going to break down to one of 5 possibilities. The first possibility is, and this was the obvious one, no, I can't help you. I don't want to help you. I don't like you. You look funny. You smell bad. Don't worry about the abusive things again. But whatever the answer is, no, I don't have the time right now. I don't have the money. I'm moving my house. I just got a divorce. I just got married. Whatever. They have some objection, and I put that generally in the no category. So you just say, always polite. Thank you for your time. Hang up. They've said no to you. Anything else you do from there is wasting both your time and their time. And they know it. That's why they said no. Remember, we're not their best friends, but we're not enemies either. We're just calling in a professional manner, and we're asking them to help us. If they can't, okay, that's fine. We have other calls we have to make. And they'll appreciate that. We're not going to say, anything rude like, we don't like you anyway, click. Nothing like that. No need to. Thank you for your time. Click. They'll be very happy with that. They can go back to whatever it is they were doing. Remember, every time we call somebody, even though they might be expecting it, it's an interruption. So we can't be wasting their time. We can't be screwing around. We just go straight to it without being a robot, because they're also human beings. So we have to treat them with the respect that they deserve as human beings. And that will help them to treat us with the respect that we deserve as human beings. I think you're starting to get there. Okay, so let's try it again. Hello, this is Charles Braden. I'm a volunteer for the Libertarian Party of Florida. I'm looking for Sally Vasquez. Oh, hi, I'm Sally. What can I do for you? Ma'am, I'm calling to let you know that the LPF is being very aggressive in this election year. We have a goal of reaching 400,000 NPA voters before election night. We need both volunteers and materials. Can you help us? The next most likely thing for them to say is yes. Now, they don't quite know what they're saying yes to yet. That's okay. We'll help them. They say yes or something to that. I'd like to. That sounds good. What can I do? Anything that generally is a positive, I put in the yes column. You say, can you help as a volunteer, a contributor, or both? And just let it lie. Don't say another word. Let them think about that. What do they want to do? They don't know yet. Even if they're expecting this call, they don't know what's going to be the content of the call. Do I want to volunteer? Do I want to give money? What do I want to do? Or both? Yikes. So they've got to think about that for a minute. Let them have that time. It doesn't need to be high. We're not selling used cars that don't work here. These are members of the LPF, and they, in general, I presume, and we should presume, want the LPF to be successful. We're helping them to be successful. So we can give them that time. They've certainly earned it. And they will say one of a couple of things. I could be a volunteer, they'll say. The next thing you would say is, thank you. Volunteers are the strength of the party. I've marked you as a volunteer, and someone will contact you shortly. I hate to be brief, but I need to make many more calls. And they'll say, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Hang on. Now, remember I told you, there was the prep, the phone call, and then the post call. After you've hung up the post call, and this one's going to be important, you're going to check the box next to the name for volunteer so that we know that that person has volunteered when we get these sheets back. That's important. All the other ones you didn't need to worry about. That one you do. Okay, let's run through this again. Hello, this is Charles Braden. I'm a volunteer for the Libertarian Party of Florida. I'm looking for Michael Chin. Hi, Charles. I'm Mike. What can I do for you? Or more likely, I'm Mike, or this is Mike, or yes. Just run with it. It's okay. Just run with it. It's just a phone call. It's no big deal. Sir, I'm calling to let you know that the LPF is being very aggressive in this election year. We have a goal of reaching 400,000 MPA voters before election night. We need both volunteers and materials. Can you help us? Yes. Thank you. Can you help as a volunteer, a contributor, or both? I think I could be a contributor. I've got a little bit of money I can help. Thank you. Contributions allow us to buy ads and materials. For your protection, I will not ask you for your payment information, but rather see what happens when you get robot. But rather request that you go to lpf.org/donate and make a secure contribution. Really? Is that all I have to do? That's it. Just go on there and make a contribution. We know a lot of people aren't comfortable with giving out their credit card numbers over the phone, so we've made it so that you can do it securely there. Wow, thank you. I'm going to do that. Click, off they run. Well, you have a good day. Okay, so it's that easy. It's really that simple. It'll work out very well for you. Now, another couple of possibilities. One is the fumble, like you just saw me do myself. I've been doing this for 25 some years now, and I just fumbled. When you do, don't worry about it. Wipe a slate, take a breath, do it again. Here's one of the most important things to remember whenever you're doing this phone kind of work. These people, while they are important, you will likely never talk to them again as long as you live. You don't have a reputation to keep up with them. You just need to treat them with dignity and respect, and they'll do the same thing for you. So if you make a little fumble or a flub, so what? It happens to everybody. Back it up, do it again. They know you're reading from a script. That's no problem. Just as long as you don't sound like a robot, you're great. So there you go. What if you flub it? Just do it again. Water off the duck's back. It's no big deal. So let's go back with Mike here. Sir. Now you always want to use sir, ma'am, if you can determine it. If you can't determine it for some reason, some people's voices sound funny and the names don't give it away, whatever, go with sir. Sir always works, even for ladies. It's not the best these days, but it is still formal English, so you can get away with that usually. If you can't do the sir or ma'am because you feel uncomfortable with it or whatever, just drop it. I'm calling to let you know that the LPF is being very aggressive in this election year. We have a goal of reaching 400,000 MPA voters before election night. We need both volunteers and materials. Can you help us? Now, you might notice I'm using my finger. Nothing wrong with that. Right? You're on your phone. I'm calling to let you know that the LPF is being very aggressive. There's nothing wrong with that. The idea is that you sound right and you don't lose your place. You know, we're not in speed reading school or anything. Okay, so Mike, can you help us? And Mike says, yes, I can. Thank you. Can you help as a volunteer, a contributor, or both? I could do both. I could totally do both. Thank you. Now you'll notice I say thank you a lot. It's important to say thank you a lot because they're giving us their time and apparently their money and their effort in this situation. We have to be saying thank you for that. I've marked you as a volunteer and someone will contact you shortly. For your protection, I will not ask you for your payment information, but rather request that you go to lpf.org/donate and make a secure contribution. So you'll see that I kind of take those two things and put them together. Okay, I'll do that now. That is, I pushed a button in my face. That is the basic call guidelines. The reason I call them guidelines is because here's what's going to happen. Probably on your very first call. Sorry. Somebody won't answer exactly the way that this guideline would have laid out. In fact, he'll say, I'm looking for Fred Michaels, and Fred will say something like, he'll say, hi, I'm Fred, and you'll say, sir, I'm calling to let you know the LPF's being very aggressive in this section. Oh yeah, how is that? They interrupt you. The interrupt is, it's just something that happens. We don't know what their mental state is when they're calling. Maybe they're angry. Maybe somebody just ran over their cat in the road or whatever. We don't know what's going on in their life. And now we're interrupting them, and they know this is a spiel. And so they want to know, come on, can we just cut to the bottom? What's going on here? About the best thing you can do with that is just gauge and use your judgment. Well, I'm calling to ask if you can help us out. Help us with what? Okay, well, we're trying to reach 400,000 voters before the election night. Oh, how are you going to do that? It's a Facebook video ad that we're sending out. Oh, I thought the LPF didn't do anything. At the bottom of the script, we have some talking points. And these are some of the things we've been doing lately. The burn recovery centers, occupy the primary, this telethon, things that are coming up, the sports and the concert events, the 400,000 NPA voters. So we can say to people, we have these things. Now, the moment you ask for money from somebody, it's very likely they're going to go off script. They're not going to say, oh yes, you can be a contributor. It's very likely they're going to ask you, what are you going to do with my money in one form or another? Okay, are you going to buy signs with it or no? You don't know how they're going to ask you. You have to use your mind and be flexible. This is not bumper cars where everything has to stay exactly in line. This is a guideline to let you know how it's likely to go. Okay, so when somebody says, how are you going to use the money? That's what these talking points are for. Well, we could use it to buy signs. We can use it to buy rat cars. We can use it to set up burn centers. We're going to use it to send out these Facebook ads to 400,000 voters. Say the big numbers, because that's what we're really doing. We're at 400,000 voters. Go ahead and say the big numbers. We're trying to call everybody. Just go ahead and give them some reason to know what they're donating to. Not just donating to a party because it's got cool letters, LPF, score. That's not it. We're going to take the money and we're going to do something constructive with it to move liberty forward. That's the point. Otherwise, why are they even a member, right? So we give them some real tangible things as to what we're doing, and that should help out. Okay, that is actually everything you need to know. At the end of the call, thank you for your time. Hang up. Always say thank you for your time. Even if they've been rude to you, we'll talk about rude in a minute. And then you go back to your sheet and you mark down one of two things. Their name. Check that they're volunteer. Check that they're a pledge. Oh, I did miss something. I'll have to update the script. Don't worry, the script will be updated. Thank you for your contribution. Contributions allow us to buy ads and materials. For your protection, I will not ask you for your payment information, but rather request that you go to lpf.org/donate and make a secure contribution. How much do you think you will make? Or I'll have to think about the exact wording. What do you think the size of your contribution will be? Something to that effect. And they should give you a number. Any number will do. Okay? Now, as they're hemming and hawing about that, one of the things you'll have on this paper is a contribution of this size gets you a thank you gift of that. Be sure to say that to them. Well, sir, if they say $10, I'm thinking about 10 or 20. Well, at $10 you get this, at $20 you get that. That can help them decide what to do. The one thing we don't want to do is push them for money they don't feel comfortable giving. This isn't, again, a used car salesman situation here. Not to malign used car salesmen, but I'm talking about the sleazy ones. Okay, they have the cliche reputation. I don't know if it's out here or not. So in any case, that's where you're going to want to do with that. I'll make sure to amend this. You'll have the latest script by the time you're actually ready to make these phone calls. Let's talk about the angry phone call, the abusive phone call. It doesn't matter at all what they do. You're always responsible for you. At no time should you be swearing or rude to any of our members, ever, even if they are rude to you. If they are rude to you, just simply say, thank you for your time, and hang up. That's it. You're not required to stay on a phone call where somebody is rude. If they are swearing or whatever, you're not required to ever deal with that. You don't have to at all. Thank you for your time, hang up. If for some reason somebody says something like, let me talk to your supervisor, maybe you have one, maybe you don't, you just hand them over to the support person and let them deal with it. That's their job, is to deal with people who are unreasonable. If you don't have one because you're an affiliate where you're just one of two people, hand it to the other person. Or if you're the only one doing it, which is not supposed to happen, if you're the only one doing it, say, oh, I don't have a supervisor. Thank you, and hang up. Thank you for your time. You're not required to put up with rude people. Most of the time, if you're polite and professional, they will at least be polite and professional back. So there it is. That is how you make a phone call. And we will do some practice on that here in a little bit in another recording. Feel free.